It's 3 p.m. Lunch feels like a distant memory, and the promise of dinner is still hours away. A familiar feeling starts to creep in. It's a slump in your energy. The words on the page in front of you might start to blur. Your focus begins to drift. And then a craving kicks in. It starts as a quiet whisper from the back of your brain. I need something. Your brain, seeking a quick fix, starts to bargain with you. Just one cookie, it says. Just a small handful of those salty crackers. You've been so good all day. You deserve a little treat. I want you to know that this is not a failure of willpower. It is a biological reality. For many people, this mid-afternoon dip is a natural part of our circadian rhythm. When our cortisol levels begin to fall and the energy from our lunch starts to wane. It's a legitimate signal from our body asking for more fuel. The crucial question is, what kind of fuel will we choose? For decades, we've been told that snacking is a bad habit, a dietary sign that leads to weight gain and spoils your appetite for dinner. But is that really true? Let's get into the lab for a moment. The problem isn't the act of snacking itself, the intelligent act of refueling your body between larger meals. The problem is that the modern food industry has hijacked the word snack. They have flooded our supermarket shelves with products they call snack foods. These aren't foods. They are scientifically engineered products, created in labs by food scientists to find what they call the bliss point, the perfect, irresistible combination of salt, fat, and sugar that overrides your body's natural "I'm full" signals and keeps you coming back for more. They are designed to be hyper-palatable. They're often made with refined carbohydrates that cause a quick spike in your blood sugar, giving you a momentary rush of energy. But that rush is inevitably followed by an even bigger crash, leaving you more tired, foggy, and craving even more an hour later. It's a vicious cycle, meticulously designed to sell more products, not to support your long-term health. So today, we're staging a rebellion, a snacking revolution. What if we could reclaim snacking? What if, instead of being a dietary pitfall, your snacks could become a powerful, strategic tool to help you reach your diet goals, provide steady energy, and prevent overeating at your main meals? Think of your body's energy like a fireplace. A processed snack food, like a handful of chips or a cupcake, is like throwing a piece of wadded-up newspaper on the fire. You get a big, bright, intense flare-up for a minute, but then it quickly burns out, leaving you with nothing but ash and a need for more fuel. A strategic, healthy snack, on the other hand, is like placing a solid piece of seasoned oak on the fire. It doesn't flare up as dramatically, but it provides a slow, steady, consistent burn that keeps you warm and energized for hours. This was the exact shift our friend Susan made. She used to be a classic grazer, a few crackers here, a small cookie there throughout the afternoon. She never felt truly satisfied and couldn't understand why she was still so tired and foggy-brained by 4 p.m. When she learned to swap those for a strategic snack like a handful of almonds and a few dates, she was shocked. She could suddenly sail through the afternoon with clear focus and stable energy. That is the transformation we're talking about today. In today's deep dive, we're going to give you a complete guide to smart, strategic snacking. First, we'll enter the lab to learn the anatomy of a perfect snack. This is the simple formula you can use forever to build satisfying snacks that work for your body. Then, we'll reveal our Snackpedia, a visual feast of over 20 delicious, easy, and satisfying ideas categorized by what you need most. And finally, we'll become behavioral scientists, learning 3 crucial strategies to engineer your home environment for automatic success. Because willpower is a finite muscle, but a good system lasts a lifetime. You'll never look at that 3 p.m. slump the same way again. Let's get started. To win this battle for our taste buds, we first need to understand the enemy. And in this case, there are 2, salt and sugar. They work in different ways, but they often collaborate to keep us hooked. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the two culprits separately. First, let's talk about salt. When you say that a low-sodium food tastes bland, what's really happening? The science is fascinating, and it's a process called sensory adaptation. Imagine each salt receptor on your tongue is like a tiny, sensitive lock, and a sodium ion is the key that fits into it, sending a salty flavor signal to your brain. When you consistently eat a high-salt diet, your body is bombarded with these keys. In an effort to protect itself from being constantly overwhelmed, your body cleverly begins to plug up some of those locks. It desensitizes them. This means that to get the same level of salty taste, to unlock the same number of functioning locks, you need to flood your tongue with more and more sodium keys. You have effectively built up a tolerance. It's exactly like listening to music too loud all the time. After a few years of going to loud concerts, a normal volume of conversation starts to sound like a whisper. Your hearing has adapted. Your taste buds do the exact same thing. This is why a can of soup that tastes perfectly seasoned to someone on a typical American diet can taste like literal seawater to someone who has already retrained their palate. Their volume dials are simply set to completely different levels. Let's think about David. For years, his favorite go-to snack was a bag of pretzels. Each pretzel is covered in those large, coarse salt crystals. His taste buds were so accustomed to this intense, explosive level of saltiness that when he first tried a simple, unsalted almond, his brain barely registered it as a savory food. It wasn't that the almond had no flavor. It's that his salt volume dial, as we said, was turned up so high he couldn't hear the almond's quiet, nuanced, and earthy flavor. But here is the fantastic news. This process is completely reversible. When you begin to reduce your salt intake, your body, in its wisdom, says, "Oh, okay, I don't need this level of protection anymore." And it starts to unplug those receptors. Your tongue becomes sensitive and awake again. Now let's look at our second culprit, sugar. The sugar cycle is a bit more complex because it involves not just your tongue, but the powerful reward system deep inside your brain. From an evolutionary perspective, our brains are hardwired to love sugar. For our ancient ancestors, finding a sweet, high-energy food like a ripe piece of fruit or a honeycomb was a rare and valuable survival event. To ensure we would remember and seek out these calories, the brain developed a powerful reward system. When you eat sugar, it triggers a release of a feel-good neurochemical called dopamine in your brain's pleasure center. This dopamine hit says to your brain, "Yes, that was amazing. Remember what you just did and do it again." The problem is, the modern food industry has taken this ancient survival mechanism and put it into overdrive. They've given us a constant, unlimited supply of cheap, refined sugar. A processed sweet snack is not like a piece of fruit. It's a concentrated dose of sugar that causes a massive dopamine release. It's a roller coaster. You get that fast, thrilling climb to the top, the sugar rush, the feeling of pleasure. But every thrilling climb on a roller coaster is followed by a steep, fast drop. As your blood sugar and dopamine levels crash, your brain screams, "Get me back on that ride." This creates an intense craving, not just for something sweet, but for the feeling that the sugar gave you. This was Susan's challenge. Her sweet iced coffee drink every afternoon wasn't just a habit. It was a ritual she looked forward to. That anticipation was part of the dopamine cycle. She realized she wasn't just craving the drink. She was craving the brief lift, that moment of pleasure in a quiet afternoon. Understanding that it was a neurochemical cycle, not a personal failing, was the first step for her to break free. So we have salt desensitizing our taste buds, and sugar driving the craving cycle at our brain. But here is the food industry's ultimate trick. They use them together in ways you would never expect. Why does your favorite brand of bread or pasta sauce have so much sugar? It balances the acidity of tomatoes and adds a subtle sweetness our brains love. And the reverse is even more insidious. Why is there so much salt in your favorite cookie, cake mix, or even ice cream? Salt is a powerful flavor enhancer, but it does something magical to sweetness. It actually makes sweet things taste sweeter and more complex. It also balances the flavor, preventing things from tasting cloyingly, one-dimensionally sweet. This means you can eat more of the sweet product before your palate gets overwhelmed and tells you to stop. This is the food industry's brilliant 1-2 punch. They use sugar to make you crave their savory products, and they use salt to make you crave their sweet products. They have created a food environment where it's almost impossible not to overconsume both. They have hijacked our ancient survival wiring for their own profit. But today, we take the power back. And it starts with our 4-week retraining program. Okay, now for our strategic plan. We've understood the science of how our palate was hijacked. Now we're going to launch a gentle, intelligent, and highly effective counteroffensive. This is your 4-week program to reclaim your taste buds. The key to our success is gradual reduction, not going cold turkey. Think of it like training for a marathon. You wouldn't wake up one day and try to run 26 miles. That would lead to injury and burnout. You'd start with a short walk, then a jog, and slowly build your endurance over time. We're going to treat our taste buds with that same respect and patience. This is a gentle marathon, not a painful sprint. The first week might feel a little strange, but I promise you, if you stick with this plan, the results by week 4 will be nothing short of remarkable. Week 1, the awareness and obvious reduction phase. Our goal for week 1 is simple. We are going to declutter our palate by removing the most obvious and loudest sources of flavor noise. This is about building awareness and tackling the low-hanging fruit. For salt, your mission this week has 2 parts. First, the salt shaker that lives on your dining table. We're going to respectfully ask it to take a vacation. Put it away in a cabinet, just for this month. This single act is incredibly powerful because it breaks a deeply ingrained physical and visual habit. Let's think about David. His morning ritual for 50 years was to sit down, and before even tasting his eggs, he'd give them a generous shake of salt. The first few days without the shaker on the table felt odd. He kept reaching for something that wasn't there. But by day 4, the reflex started to fade. He began to taste his eggs first. The second part of your salt mission is in your cooking. Whatever amount of salt your recipe calls for, I want you to cut it in half. If it says 1 teaspoon, use half a teaspoon. You will notice the difference, but it won't be drastic. We're just starting to turn down the volume dial. Now for sugar. Your mission is equally straightforward. We're going to eliminate the easiest target, sugary drinks. This means no soda, no sweetened iced teas, no sugary juices. Why start here? Because liquid sugar is like a direct injection into your system. It's absorbed incredibly fast, causing that dramatic blood sugar and dopamine roller coaster we talked about. Switching to water, sparkling water, or unsweetened tea is the single biggest impact you can make in week 1. Next, look at your most obvious sweet treat. Is it the 2 cookies after dinner? The scoop of ice cream? This week, simply cut that portion in half. Week 2, the substitution phase. Welcome to week 2. Your palate has had a week to adjust to a slightly quieter world. Now we get creative. This week is all about substitution. We're not just taking things away. We're actively adding new, exciting flavors. For salt, this week we are going to fully open our flavor toolkit. Your mission is to cook at least 1 meal this week with 0 added salt. How? By using our flavor heroes. For chicken or pork, try a smoky profile, smoked paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. This combination gives a deep, savory, almost barbecue-like flavor. For fish, try a fresh and zesty profile, fresh dill, black pepper, and a generous squeeze of fresh lemon juice right at the end. The acidity from the lemon mimics the brightness of salt. For a tomato sauce or soup, try an Italian profile. dried oregano, basil, and a small pinch of red pepper flakes. By focusing on what you can add, you forget about what you're leaving out. For sugar, your mission is to swap added sugar for natural sweetness. This is where you let nature do the work. Instead of buying vanilla-flavored yogurt, which can have over 15 grams of added sugar, buy plain Greek yogurt and add a handful of fresh berries. The berries provide sweetness and fiber. Instead of adding sugar to your morning oatmeal, add a generous sprinkle of cinnamon. Week 3, the crowding out phase. You've made it to week 3. Your taste buds are waking up. Now we employ a powerful psychological strategy, crowding out. For this week, I want you to forget about don't eat this, don't eat that. A diet based on restriction and scarcity feels like a punishment. It's not sustainable. Instead, we're going to focus on abundance. Your mission this week is simple but powerful. Add 1 extra serving of vegetables to your lunch and 1 to dinner. What does this do? First, it floods your body with the vitamins, minerals, and fiber it needs. But second, it works a kind of magic on your plate and in your stomach. When you consciously fill half your dinner plate with delicious roasted broccoli or a big, beautiful salad first, you naturally have less room for the other, less healthy items. You'll find you're perfectly satisfied with a smaller portion of your main course. You are crowding out the less desirable foods with an abundance of nutrient-dense ones. It's addition, not subtraction. This was a game changer for Susan. She started making a simple side salad with our 2-minute vinaigrette before every dinner. She found that by filling up on those fresh greens, she was perfectly happy with a smaller piece of chicken and a smaller scoop of rice. It was an effortless way to reduce her overall calorie intake without ever feeling hungry. Week 4, the new normal and the retaste test. Welcome to week 4, your graduation week. By now, something remarkable has happened. Your brain has started to form new pathways. Your taste buds have renewed themselves in a lower sodium, lower sugar environment. Your flavor volume dial has been reset to its natural, more sensitive level. It's time to prove it to yourself. Here's your final assignment. I want you to conduct a science experiment on yourself. Find one of those hyper-salty or hyper-sweet foods you used to eat regularly, a single potato chip from a popular brand, a piece of a very sweet commercial cookie, or one of those buttery, salty crackers. Don't eat it mindlessly. Treat it like a true experiment. Put that single chip or cookie on a plate. Look at it. Smell it. Now take 1 small bite. And pay close attention to the immediate sensation in your mouth. I can almost guarantee what you will feel. An overwhelming, almost chemical-like wave of saltiness or a cloying, one-dimensional sweetness. It won't taste normal anymore. It will taste like an assault on your senses. This is the exact moment that happened to Susan. After a month, she found that old box of salty crackers in the back of her pantry. She remembered them as being buttery and savory. She took 1 bite, and her face immediately recoiled. She rushed to get a glass of water. "David," she exclaimed, "come try this. It tastes like a pure salt lick." "How did we ever eat these?" David tried one and had the exact same reaction. In that moment, they realized it would no longer be a punishment to not eat those crackers. It would be a relief. The food hadn't changed. They had. You have graduated. The reward for your 4-week journey isn't just better health numbers. The real, lasting reward is that you are about to unlock a world of flavor that was previously hidden from you, drowned out by the noise of excessive salt and sugar. Think of it this way. For years, your palate has been listening to a song with only 2 notes played at maximum volume, a blaring salt note and a piercing sugar note. Everything else, the subtle melodies of vegetables, the intricate harmonies of spices, the deep bass notes of umami, was completely overwhelmed. This chapter is about learning to finally hear the whole orchestra. When the shouting of salt and sugar finally quiets down, you begin to hear the whispers. You start to discover the true intrinsic flavor of whole foods, perhaps for the very first time in your adult life, and it is a remarkable experience. Take a simple, humble carrot. Before, it might have just been a crunchy vehicle for a salty ranch dip. But now, try roasting it with just a touch of olive oil until it's tender. Take a bite. What do you taste? You taste a deep, profound, earthy sweetness. You can taste the caramelization that developed from its own natural sugars. You are, in a very real sense, tasting the sunshine and the rich soil that it grew in. It's a flavor that was there all along, waiting to be discovered. Or let's talk about mushrooms. Sautéed without a pile of salt and butter, they release a deep, savory, meaty flavor that fills your mouth. This incredible taste is called umami, often referred to as the fifth taste, alongside sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. Umami provides a deep sense of satisfaction and richness that salt can only crudely imitate. It's the reason a well-made mushroom broth can feel as comforting as a chicken soup. Let's go back to David's story. For his entire life, David thought he disliked bell peppers. He always found them bitter and unpleasant. About a month after starting the DASH diet, Susan was roasting a mix of vegetables, including bright red bell peppers. The aroma filled the kitchen. David, hesitantly, tried one. His eyes widened. "Wow," he said, "these are so sweet." He realized in that moment that he had never actually tasted a bell pepper before. He had only ever tasted the salt that was on it, which had amplified its natural bitterness. By removing the salt, he could finally taste the pepper's true sweet character. This is the gift you are giving yourself. The ability to taste the bright, zesty acidity of a sun-ripened tomato. The subtle, anise-like freshness of fennel. The nutty depth of properly cooked quinoa. It's a culinary rebirth. And this brings us to your flavor toolkit, your herbs, spices, and acids. In the beginning, you might have seen them as mere substitutes for salt. But now, you will come to see them as what they truly are, the stars of the show. You are moving from being a rule follower to becoming a flavor artist, and your spice rack is your new palette of colors. You're no longer just not adding salt to a piece of chicken. You are now creating a masterpiece. You are thoughtfully combining the woodsy, pine-like notes of rosemary with the bright, sharp acidity of lemon and the pungent, savory kick of garlic powder. Each ingredient adds a unique layer, a different dimension of flavor that salt could never provide. You're not just eating fish. You're pairing the delicate flavor of that fish with the grassy, fresh notes of dill, the sharp, briny pop of capers, and a final squeeze of lime. This is the secret of all great chefs. They don't rely on one loud flavor to carry a dish. They build layers of flavor. They start with a savory base from sautéed onions and garlic. They add the aromatic, earthy middle notes from herbs and spices like cumin and coriander. And they finish with a bright, acidic high note from a splash of vinegar or citrus. Your home cooking can now have this same three-dimensional, complex, and deeply satisfying quality. You have traded the one-dimensional harsh shout of salt for the beautiful complex symphony of real food. You are no longer a slave to one or two dominant tastes. You have unlocked the full spectrum of flavor. Your food is more interesting, more delicious, and infinitely healthier. So let's put the old myth to rest. Snacking isn't cheating. It's a strategic tool to fuel your body, manage hunger, and meet your health goals. Remember the power pairing rule. Combine a fiber-rich carb with a healthy protein or fat. We've explored a world of over 20 delicious ideas, from fiber fill-ups like apples and hummus to protein power-ups like hard-boiled eggs and Greek yogurt. And we've learned the 3 critical strategies to engineer our environment for success, making the healthy choice the easy choice, the power of pre-portioning, and the profound satisfaction of mindful snacking. You are now equipped with a full encyclopedia of healthy snack ideas and the strategies to make them a successful part of your life. You can say goodbye to the 3 p.m. energy crash and the guilt of unhealthy choices. This isn't just about avoiding potato chips. This is about having the sustained energy to live your life with vitality. For seniors, stable energy isn't a luxury. It's the fuel you need to play with your grandkids and enjoy your hobbies. Think about David and Susan. Snacking is no longer a source of anxiety in their home. The cookie jar is gone from the counter. Instead, there's a bowl of fresh fruit. The 3 p.m. slump is now an opportunity for Susan to enjoy a mindful cup of tea with a few pre-portioned almonds, or for David to have a hard-boiled egg before he heads out to the garden. They've replaced a cycle of cravings and guilt with a rhythm of energy and intention. The Snackpedia we started today doesn't have to end here. It can grow with the collective wisdom of our amazing community, and that includes you. So here is your mission. What is your favorite power pairing snack? Be specific. Is it a certain brand of low-sodium cracker with a specific topping? A unique fruit and nut combination you love? Share your amazing tips and recipes in the comments below. Let's build the ultimate community, Snackpedia, together. If this guide has equipped and empowered you to take control of your snacking habits, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. It truly helps the channel reach and help more people. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Senior Health Lab and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next masterclass. Thank you for joining us in the lab today. Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy,